Next on Worcester News tonight, Friday marks the 80th anniversary of New England's most deadly hurricane in history. How those in Worcester remember the day. Plus, the Central Massachusetts Fire Department helping a woman in an unusual way. What proper training they say it takes to remove a necklace. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Brittany Schaefer. It has been 80 years since a devastating Category 3 hurricane hit New England. Today, technology helps forecast the track of hurricanes and helps people prepare the best way they can, but this wasn't the case back in 1938. Our Chandler Walsh spoke to some in Worcester Friday who remember the scary day all too well. Chandler?
Brittany, with today's technology and warning systems, we can predict storms in advance, including what they'll do and where they'll go. But Worcester residents who lived through the hurricane of 1938 say there was nothing to prepare them. No one knew what was coming when the hurricane of 1938 hit New England.
It got caught between two weather systems and it shot right up the East Coast in record time.
Austin Seaver remembers walking home from school with his friend when the winds came.
It started to blow pretty hard. So my mother scooped us both and brought us into the house and wouldn't let him finish going home.
Seaver was 7 years old and it was his first time learning about a hurricane.
We sat in my bedroom and looked out the window and watched the trees go over.
The Worcester Historical Museum says the Category 3 storm caused massive flooding, fires, and winds as high as 186 miles per hour in the state. Worcester resident Eleanor Smith was living in Connecticut at the time. The winds there just as strong.
The hurricane took the chicken coop and flew it way over into another field.
In Worcester, damage was widespread, from uprooted trees to caved-in roofs to destroyed buildings.
Steeples went down, trees crushed cars, U.S. Steel had a roof collapse, George Whitney's factory had the whole top of it taken off.
Seaver rode out the storm in his home on Franklin Street, one of the oldest in the city. He says his parents were relieved they had no damage. The house still stands.
That old house must have been well built because not a thing happened to it.
Fred Dowd watched the windows of his home in Webster Square shake. He says he was scared with no warning of the storm. The hurricane was extra dangerous without the satellite imagery and radar technology of today.
I'm thankful that they have a lot more time to prepare for these things.
Seaver says for children like him, the hurricane was an adventure, but for adults, it was serious. Worcester experienced millions of dollars worth of damage. There were 8 deaths in the city and 130 more injured. Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
The man arrested in connection to a fatal shooting on Everard Street last week is back in court Friday. 25-year-old Kenny Mota Cruz was arrested in Dunkirk, New York by U.S. Marshals and Dunkirk police. According to the Worcester County District Attorney's Office, he is being held without bail. 42-year-old Jose Ortiz was shot and killed August 24th inside a 3-decker on Everard Street. 2 other Worcester men have been charged as accessories in the killing. A car crash in Charlton sends 2 to the hospital. The accident happened late Friday morning at the intersection of Bay Path and Road and Route 20. The highway heading eastbound had to be shut down until the 2 vehicles involved were removed. 2 victims were transported to the UMass Memorial Trauma Center and are expected to be okay. A man was stabbed multiple times near Hadwen Park Thursday. Worcester police are investigating after 1 victim was taken to the hospital. We should warn you, some of the images are graphic. Police say a 48-year-old man was asking for help after suffering several stab wounds on his back. A person who spoke with Worcester News Tonight says the man was bleeding profusely before he was taken away in an ambulance. Bloodstains could be seen on the victim's clothes and on a boulder at the entrance of Hadwen Park. Detectives and the crime scene unit responded and secured the scene. The investigation is ongoing. Anyone with information is urged to contact the Worcester Police Department. The Webster Fire Department responding to an unusual call for help Thursday. A woman's steel necklace was stuck, so they did their best to help her out. Jolda says using these tools and keeping the woman safe requires the proper training. The department covered her in Nomex gear to protect her from sparks and used a metal barrier between the necklace and her neck. Jolda used a metal cutting blade to cut through the jewelry. He says while it was an unusual incident, the Webster Fire Department is ready to help in any situation.
Rescue on the trucks, but we are really an all hazards department, like most fire departments. It's not just fires and car accidents and EMS anymore. We do water and ice rescue, rope rescue, and all kinds of special circumstances like this, which a lot of people aren't even aware of.
Jolda says they were able to cut off the necklace within a few minutes. It was 1 year ago the island of Puerto Rico was devastated by the Category 4 Hurricane Maria. The storm destroyed homes and wiped out power to virtually the entire island. And this evening, some in Worcester are taking the time to remember its impact. Cam Jandro has the story.
Worcester's Latino History Project holds a moment of silence to remember the victims of Hurricane Maria. Exactly 1 year ago Thursday, the storm hammered Puerto Rico, causing roughly $100 billion in damages.
And then what Irma didn't do, Maria came and finished the job, kind of thing.
Sonia Ventura lives in Vieques, Puerto Rico, and was in Worcester Thursday taking part in a forum hosted by the city's Latino History Project. She recalls what it was like to live through the storm.
I never thought something like that would have ever happened, that I would ever seen something like that, and I was petrified.
Mayor of San Juan, Carmen Yulin Cruz, says nearly 3,000 people lost their lives as a result of Maria. For Ventura, she saw the devastation firsthand.
All the trees, the houses in front of my house that were gone completely, and it was a disaster.
Ventura says some parts of the island had no power as late as August of this year, and a great number of Puerto Ricans are still struggling.
The electricity still is not fully reliable. About half of the clinics, medical facilities closing on the island.
Merari Alvarado has a son who's a police officer in Puerto Rico. She says the conditions on the island made life difficult for everyone, including law enforcement.
He ended very, very sick with bronchitis because he had to sleep on the floor, cold floor, wet.
Alvarado works for Centro in Worcester. She says the last year has been one of the busiest for the organization, and she tries to help the people of Puerto Rico as much as she can.
At least once a year, I will try, and I was afraid to fly. I was afraid to fly, but I had to put that a scariness in the side and say, hey, I had to support my island.
Cam Jandro, Worcester News Tonight.
The 2018 Worcester County Walk to End Alzheimer's is taking place this weekend, and for many taking part, the disease is personal. Deb Mazza-Scanlon and Tom Bolduc are both walking in the event for their first time Sunday. In Worcester County, Mazza-Scanlon has raised the most money, almost $20,000, and Bolduc is in the top 5 with $5,000. The two say it's a purpose close to their heart. Mazza-Scanlon takes care of her father, who was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and Bolduc lost his mother in 2016 to the disease.
A month after he came to live with me, someone he's raised most of my life, he forgot my name. So that was really tough. The awareness is so key because it's the 6th leading killer of people, and it doesn't really get the platform that it deserves.
I've seen the good, and if there is good in Alzheimer's, yes, there is. There are some good things, and I've seen the bad. And research shows you that it's just continually growing, and awareness and research is crucial. It's Alzheimer's that's doing this. It's not the person, so you can never take it against that person.
The two say the day is all about raising awareness. The walk is at Quinsigamond Community College. Registration begins at 8:30. A 16-year-old boy in Southbridge attends every softball game of the season with his father. He helps set up the field, return foul balls, but most of all puts a smile on every face on the field and in the stands. When entering Ed McCann Field in Southbridge, Zachary Wolfe puts a smile on every fan and player's face.
Personally, I've never seen anything like it. It's one of a kind.
I know it's something that not only me, but my whole team looks forward to every time.
The 16-year-old was diagnosed with autism at a young age, but it doesn't stop him from greeting every player.
Hi, Brian.
And Wolfe goes further than just saying hello. He knows all 400 players in the league's first name, jersey number, and gives each a special handshake.
I do. I love secret handshake.
You don't even get out of the car before he's there, yelling your name, your number 8, Brian, number 8, and giving you the handshake.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the boom, it gives me a lift. Whenever I'm having a bad day, all I need to do is see him.
Wolfe's father, Jeff, is the vice president of the Southbridge Softball Association board and says Zach has been coming to the games for 7 years. The season runs from May through October with games every night of the week, and the father and son are a dynamic duo.
My dad is my best friend in the whole wide world.
I'm proud. He's my best friend.
Jeff says it's amazing to see his son smiling and excited to come to the field every day.
Zachary just happens to be in a community that embraces him, and he embraces the community, and it's awesome to see. It's very heartwarming, and it's nice to see that other people come around him and support him.
Zachary says giving everyone a handshake and saying hello makes him happy and excited. St. Vincent Hospital hosting a fair Friday to educate the public on Fall Prevention Awareness Day. Hundreds attended the event located in the hospital's atrium. The fair offered free balance screenings, exercise tips, educational lessons, and free giveaways. According to the hospital, 1 in 5 falls results in a serious injury, and most falls occur in children under 5 and adults over 70 years old. Physical therapist Pam Hale says it's important for everyone to be educated and take precaution.
I think it's a great way to catch people that might just be coming in for an appointment. We're kind of just grabbing them as they're walking by and offering the services for them. The more people we get information to, the more falls we may help reduce. And falls are a huge risk factor for our elderly population.
The event also taught people the proper way to get up after a fall.